Hi everyone, this is Rosa Kelly and today I have a new, fun, easy tutorial, so let's get to it. Hi guys, I am very excited about this tutorial. I have a lot of requests on doing a gatefold album, so I decided this time I will do one, and this is going to be a beginner style video, so don't be afraid to try one for yourself. As you can see here, I have all the supplies that we are going to need. I'm not going to go on detail. I'm going to link the whole video for my design team where you can find all the links to all the supplies. So let's get started with the tutorial. We are going to start with our chipboard. I'm going to make this album cute and chunky. So we are going to cut these at 7 inches. And I'm going to turn this around and cut once again. So, and then we are going to do by 8 inches. So I think 7 by 8 is a pretty good size for gatefold album, any type of album actually. Now this album is going to have a 3-inch spine. So I am going to need 2 pieces of 8 inches by 3 inches. And then for the front, we are going to need 2 pieces of 8 by 3.5. So I'm going to cut these at 3.5. And of course, we are going to need 2 pieces as well. So now I have all my pieces. So the large piece is going to be our back base, and then we are going to pick the 2 3-inch pieces, and those will go right next to them like this. And then we're going to do the 2 3.5 pieces. So this is the way we are going to lay down our cover. Now in between these pieces, I am going to be using some Tyvek. Now I'm just reusing some of these envelopes, and I'm just going to cut a piece here. You can find these envelopes at the post office. You can recycle any type of mail that you have. And the good thing about Tyvek, it's very strong and durable, and it won't you know, it will be seamless underneath your design paper. And for an album like this, I definitely recommend using some Tyvek, because we are going to be doing a lot of opening and closing to this type of album. So I'm just gonna use a piece wide enough to cover basically from here to here, and we're going to need 2. So I'm just going to open this one up and cut these again. And let me just take off this extra here. And so I'm just gonna place this on the back. So what we could do is just go ahead and glue the 3-inch piece into our Tyvek. Here we go. And if you don't have Tyvek, you can use some cardstock as well. You just want to reinforce these areas. So I'm going to glue the other one here as well. Just right here. And we are going to trim the excess on the top and bottom, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, so now we are going to place the 2 sides. And I want to make sure I leave just enough space for this chipboard not to be touching when we bend it. So about 1/8 of an inch in between, as you can see, should be good enough. So I'm just gonna add my glue on this part of the Tyvek, just like that. And then I'm gonna place my chipboard, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch away. And if you don't know exactly how much that is, you can use a piece of chipboard or like your ruler and just like make sure it fits right in there. So I think this ruler is a perfect size for that. So now I'm just gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna add my glue just like this, and I think this is actually tape under here, so let me see. No, it's not. Okay. So then I'm just gonna place this like we did on the first one. So again, you can use your ruler to guide yourself. I typically just eyeball these type of things, but here we go. That's how we will do it. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same on this other side. So I'm just going to add my glue in here, and I'm gonna place this right on top here, leaving enough room for these to bend, just like that. And then same thing here. I'm gonna add some of my glue and place this, leaving it just a little bit away, just like that. So I'm gonna give these a couple of seconds to dry, and then we're gonna trim off the excess. Okay, so I trimmed the excess here, so you can see, and now we have one long piece like that. So I am gonna grab 2 sheets from my design paper. I am using the Stamperia Atelier collection. I am working with 2. You get 1 of each design, so I pick both of the same design, 1 from each pack, but you can definitely pick any design that you like. So all I'm gonna do right now is just put these 2 together like this and join them. And I just love the designs here. They're very shabby. Just love them. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn this around, and I'm going to place this right on top of everything and make sure that it's center, just like that. And so now I'm going to add glue all over the back here. So because this glue does dry pretty quickly, I'm just gonna do this one side, and then I'm going to place it, whoops, right on the center. Let's see, just like that. Okay, so make sure that is on position, and then I'm gonna continue adding my glue on each level. Now make sure you don't add glue right on this bending point. Okay, so let's just add your glue a little bit after that, and then we add something here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna continue adding my glue on each one of these. Just like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna turn this around, and I'm going to make sure that there's no air bubbles. All my glue is nice and spread, just like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring it back to the other side. There we go. And I'm going to start just bending these, just so I can, so I know exactly where this is going to land. And then I'm gonna, and notice that I'm doing this right onto our design paper instead of cardstock, because this paper is very, it's a good thickness. It's not too thick and it's not too weak, so it's a good quality paper. And so I'm just gonna fold every side first before we glue it. Okay, so we're not gonna glue it just yet. We're just giving it the shape and make sure that we have it where we need it. And same thing on this side over here. Okay, so now that we have it folded, I'm going to go ahead and cut the corners like this. So, and you want to make sure that you are away from your chipboard, just about this much, probably about 1/8 of an inch. So now I'm going to do the same for all corners. So now we're gonna add some tape on each side here. So I'm going to do 2 rows of tape, just like this. Okay, so now I'm just going to remove the tape. I'm going to start with the 2 long sides, just like that, and then we're just simply going to close this down. Since we already folded ahead, we know exactly where this is going to land. So now I'm gonna do the same on this side. Take off this tape and place this down like that. There you go. And now before we add the sides, I want to fold it once again, and then we're gonna push the corners in just so they're not sticking out when we fold this. Okay, and I'm gonna give it a good bend, and I'm gonna take off the tapes also well and just press this down. And then we're gonna do the same in this other side. Push the corners in just like that, and then we're going to take off this tape, and here we go. Make sure I close this right. There we go. Okay, so now before we bend this, we are going to use a little score tool, and we are going to mark where we're going to bend. So right on the center of this gap, we're going to just press a little bit, just like that, and then we're gonna bend this and do the same thing here. Don't press too hard because you don't want to break your cardstock. Here we go. And same thing on these two sides. Okay, so now we're gonna bend this whole thing, and one more piece. Okay, and now we're gonna bend. So now we are ready to bend everything. So we're gonna close it up like that. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love it already. So now we're going to add the closure for these. I plan on having a separate piece that will be removable. So for that, I'm going to use some magnets. Again, everything that you need will be listed on the description box down below, as well as the link to the store. I'm going to simply place 2 magnets on this side, and I'm just gonna put them here. And let's see. So I love these magnets because they already come with this sticky side, so it works out great. So I'm going to do 2 on this side, and then I will do 2 on this other side. Okay, so I have the 4 magnets that I need. So now I'm going to hold these close, and for that I'm actually going to use a paper clip to help me out. Just hold it here. So now I'm going to use a piece of cardstock. This is heavyweight cardstock that measures 6 by 7 inches, and I'm just simply going to round the corners. You can also find these corner rounder on the website on the link down below. So I'm just going to make my corners beautiful, and I'm going to place this right on the center of my front cover, and then I'm just going to add the magnets. See, they're just gonna find their own positions, and I need 2 more. And I love because we used the negative signs, and now we're using the plus side, so they're very easy to use, just like that. Okay, so now that I know where they're going, I'm going to just take off the tape here and place this again. There you go. And I'm gonna do the same to all of these magnets. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this aside, and I am going to use my design paper again, and I'm going to cut a piece, and this is going to measure 5 3/4 by 6 3/4, and that is just simply going to be to cover the front here of this white cardstock. So there we go. So now I'm just going to round the corners again, just to make it match the base, just like that. And I'm going to glue this. Now I'm going to take this piece out and put that aside, and then we're just going to work on this piece. Now, because I want my album to look a little bit vintage, I'm going to simply distress around the borders. I'm just going to give it a little scratch like that. And this is of course optional, you don't have to do it, but I'm just gonna go around the whole area. Okay, and now I'm just going to glue this piece back in here. Okay, so this is going to be the closure for the album. So now I'm gonna take that out, and once we close our album, we are going to be able to just keep it closed with the magnets, as you can see. Now I'm going to embellish this front here using this beautiful leather piece, and of course all these gorgeous flowers that were on my design team package. Wait. Okay, so I'm just going to glue these pieces. So I'm gonna glue this one down like this, and then I'm gonna use this very pretty lace and add it to the sides. I think that's gonna make it look very elegant, very chic. And you know, this collection, even though it's about sewing, I really do feel like it has a lot of wedding elements to it. So I'm going to use fabric glue to add my lace. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue there and just place this right here, and then I'll do the same on this side. And I'll place this one like this. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry for a minute. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue to embellish using these flowers. So okay, so now I'm just going to add this little wooden piece that says love here on the cover. And I really love this little leather, how it turned out. I think it looks very vintage, but also very romantic, so super pretty. So I think this is it for our cover. I'm trying to keep this project very simple. I'm going to bring my base, and we are going to place this here on on the front cover. And okay, so now we're gonna work on the hinges. I am going to do my hinges on the design paper itself again. So I'm just going to cut these at 7 1/4. Okay, so then we're going to score at 3 1/4. That is gonna be our first line. And then we're going to do 3/4 inches. So we're gonna do 3/4, that will be 4 inches. And then 4 3/4, 5 1/2. Then it will be 6 1/4, 7, 7 3/4, 8 1/2, 9 1/4, and 10. And then we're gonna do 10 3/4, and I think that is the last one. So the first, and I know it's super hard to see because I'm working on design paper here. I think on the back you can see the lines a little bit better, but we're going to skip the first 3/4 inch and we're going to pinch the next two together like this. Okay, so you want to give it a pinch and join these two together. And then we're gonna fold this and press down really good. And I like to fold it on both sides, just like this. Now I'm gonna skip the next one, and the next two, again, I'm going to pinch these two together and form another one of these hinges, just like this. So now we have two. We're gonna skip the next one and do the next two hinges, and now we have 3. Okay, so and I'm gonna press these on both sides. So now we have our 3 hinges. I'm gonna turn this around and I'm just going to glue these little, I call them little mountains. So we're gonna glue these two together. Press down hard there. We're gonna glue the next ones. Put them down. And then we're gonna do these last two. And we're gonna put this down. And now I'm just gonna make sure these are dry really good before we add them into our book. I'm gonna give it a nice push here. I'm gonna bend to the other side and I'm gonna press this again. Okay, so you want to make sure these are really flat and really flexible on both sides. So now I only have 3 hinges because I don't want my album to be too bulky, then we can't close it. So that's what we're gonna work with. All right, so the first 3 1/4 that we have here, I'm actually going to fold along that score line as well, just like that. This score line that we just folded is going to match exactly with the very first bend point. Okay, so you can see how we're gonna cover this whole area. I'm just gonna glue on this side, just like that. And again, I'm gonna match it and make sure this will bend at the same line. And then I'm just going to glue this down. Okay, we're gonna make sure it's centered up and down as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue gluing the rest of these hinges. Just like that. Make sure you get enough glue on the top and the bottom. And I like working with glue. I know we use tape for this step too, but glue will just hold more than the tape on the long term. Okay, so that's why I like using glue for my hinges. Okay, so now I'm gonna start pressing one by one, making sure there's no air bubbles, just like that. And the next one here. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of feel where that bending point is here, and I am just going to give it a little score. I'm just gonna use my tool here, and this is just so I make sure that it's going to bend on the exact place that we need it to bend. Okay, so then I'm gonna do that. Make sure that it's nice and dry so it won't bubble up. And there you go. So now we have our hinges on these sides. Then we're also going to bend these down. See how flexible your cardstock is. So I'm bending it a little bit more than what I need to. That way I know it's gonna stay perpendicular like that. Okay, so now to these hinges, I am going to add my double-sided tape. So you want to add your tape closest to the outside inch. This hinge measures 3/4 of an inch and your tape measures about 1/2 inch. So you want to make sure you stay closest to the outside, and that's where we're going to put our pages. You don't want your pages to go all the way down to your spine, because then your pages are going to be too stiff and they're not going to bend. Okay, so then I'm going to do the tape on both sides of each one of these hinges. Okay, so now I'm just going to make sure that my tape is pressed down really good without any air bubbles. And here we go. Now for this other side, I'm just going to grab another piece of cardstock. I'm using the same design, and I also cut it at 7 1/4. So this measures 7 1/4 by 12. And I'm just simply going to glue this whole piece down. So we make sure that we have enough glue on the corners and on the edges. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue with where we left off, just right there, like that. And then I'm gonna go all the way down here. And again, you wanna make sure there's no air bubbles. So we're just gonna do this thing. So we're gonna make sure this is dry before we start bending this piece, otherwise it might bubble up. Okay, so I'm going to fill here with my little tool where the bending point is, and I'm gonna line it up with my ruler to the next one here on the bottom, and I'm just gonna mark and give it a little score right there. And I'm gonna do the same with this other one. And then I'm just gonna bend this here now. I'm gonna start with this one and this one. So I have a little bit of air bubbles in there, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna bend it like that and like this. So now, again, same thing. I'm just gonna push it in just so it stays up like that. So now we have the outside and the inside of the book, and all we gotta do now is work on the pages. So for the pages, we are going to use some heavyweight cardstock. This is 110 pounds, and my cardstock measures 8.5 by 11 inches. So I'm just simply going to cut 3 pieces at 6 1/4. So I'm going to save my scrap pieces so I can use them. So I'm gonna do again 6 1/4, 2 and 3. Okay, so these are 6 1/4 by 8.5, and then I'm going to do 3 more. These are going to be 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. Okay, so these are a little bit smaller, and I'm also going to need 3. So 6 1/4 by 7 1/2. And all these scrap pieces that we are putting on the side is what we are going to use to make the page layouts. All right, so I have one more here at 7 1/2. So now I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and I am going to score at 1/2 inch and at 8 inches, and these are the larger pieces that we're using. So I'm going to do the same for the next one. 1/2 inch and 8 inches, and one more 1/2 inch and 8 inches. Okay, so now each one of these we are going to fold along the score line, and we are going to add our double-sided tape just like that. And I'm gonna just take that piece out, and same thing on the other side. We're gonna fold along that score line, press down, and then we're gonna add our tape. Okay, and then we are going to grab, let me move this out of the way. We're going to grab the smaller piece, and we're going to place it right on top of the first one. So I'm going to remove a little piece of the tape here to the side, just so it's easier to take out later. I'm going to make sure these corners match. Okay, so once I have them where I want them, I'm going to press down on that sticky side and take off that tape. Okay, then we're gonna fold this to the other side, take off the tape. Notice that I'm holding the center, that way your page doesn't bubble up. Press that down and take off the tape. So now we have our base page, and we are going to do the same with the other two. So I have the 3 base pages, and now we're gonna start working on the layouts. So I am going to grab a new sheet and also cut these at 6 1/4. So this piece is going to be 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, and I'm going to score that at 1/2 inch on one of the sides. So I'm just gonna move that to the side, and I am going to do 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're gonna fold along that score line and add our double-sided tape, just like this, and then we are going to place this page on the first one here. I'm just gonna put it along the top. So I'm going to take off just a little bit of the tape again, just like we did the pages. Make sure we line it up just like that, and then we are going to remove the rest of the tape. Okay, so now I'm going to do another piece of 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. That way I'm gonna save all my scraps so we can use them later, but I want to make another opening for the bottom. So again, 6 1/4 by 6 1/4, and I'm just gonna score 1/2 inch, and we're gonna place this one on the bottom of the same layout. So I'm gonna add my double-sided tape just like this, and again peel off a little bit of the tape there, and then we're gonna place this on the bottom. So make sure we line it up, and then we just remove the tape, and here we go. So now we have an opening to the top and an opening to the bottom. So now I'm gonna turn this to the other side, and now I'm gonna work with 2 of my scrap pieces. They all measure the same thing, but I will measure for you. These are 4 3/4 by 8 1/2. So I am going to trim these at 7 1/2. Just like that. And then I'm going to score 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 inch side, and I will do the same for both. Whoops. And again, add the tape. Yes. So hopefully these pages are very simple to do, and we are going to be embellishing the pages. So even though the album is simple on the construction, it will still be really beautiful. So I'm going to put that on the side for now. I'm going to line this up on the left. Okay, take that out. And then I'm going to place this other one on the other side. So again, with the tape, there we go. And now we just add it in here. So I'm going to line this up again. Oops. Just like that. Okay. Just like that. And now we have the first signature. We have one opening up and down, and the back that opens side to side like that. I'm gonna put this one on the side here, and we are going to work on the next page over. So this page, I'm going to make a pocket, just a simple pocket. And what I love about pockets is that they can hold so many photo mats, so lots of room for pictures. I'm going to trim this piece at 7 1/4, just like that. And now I'm going to score 3 sides. So we're gonna do 1/2 inch. We're gonna do 6 3/4, and then we're going to do 1/2 inch again. Okay, and then let's remove the corners like that. And now we're gonna fold along the lines. Okay, just like that. And we're gonna place this pocket on the page, just like that. Now I want to show you what I'm going to be using to embellish the pages. I'm going to be using the Petite Pocket Accents dies. Now this is definitely optional, but I absolutely love this die cut here, which is this die cut. You can also find this at the store, but like I said, you don't need this. This is optional if you want to add it for embellishments. So after I add my design paper, I planned on using a lot of these to embellish the pages, because the pages are exactly 6 1/4 and the die matches perfect. But I won't be adding these until after I add my design paper. So to add this pocket, I'm just gonna use glue instead of tape, because that way we have just a little bit of time to adjust and place where we want it. So I'm just gonna line up the corners on the bottom, and here we go. And I'm just gonna hold this and make sure it dries. So I'm just gonna put a little weight on that, and then I'm going to work on the other side. See how quick we're moving along with these layouts. For this next page, I'm also going to use my scrap pieces. Now these pieces I'm just going to cut at 6 1/2, and I'm going to do 2 at 6 1/2. Okay, and I'm going to score again one of the sides at 1/2 inch. This one and this one here. So I'm going to add my tape, and now I'm just going to place these 2 layouts on this page. So I'm going to do one here on the top, remove my tape, and the same thing with this other one. This one I'm going to put on the bottom, just like this. Okay, another quick layout, and then we're going to move on to the next page. Now for this page, I want to do a belly band, and I want my belly band using these gorgeous pieces that I already cut ahead, and they're gorgeous. And of course they're optional, but I'm just simply going to cut my belly band at, I want to say, let me see here, I don't want this to be too wide. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 inches just so I can fit both of those pieces by 7 1/4. Okay, and then I'm going to score 1/2 inch and at 6 3/4, which is 1/2 inch on the other side as well. So I'm gonna fold along the score lines and simply place my belly band, oops, here in place. I'm gonna do one side first, and then I will do this side here. And it's just so amazing how many things you could do with just one die. And I know these dies are a little bit pricey, but I mean, have used my dies so many times, and the same die you can use it time and time again for different projects. So not pretty. Okay, but we're gonna add these after we add the design paper there. For the back page, of course, I want to make sure I have plenty of room for pictures, so I am going to do 2 large layouts. So I am going to need 2 sheets on this one, and I'm going to cut them at 6 1/2 by 7 1/2. Okay, so now these 2 pieces I'm going to score at 1/2 inch again. And I'm sorry, I'm getting pretty messy here with all my stuff. Okay, so we're gonna do 1/2 inch, and we'll do 1/2 inch on this other one as well. And then we're just going to fold along the score line, add our tape, just like this, and I'm going to place one on each side of my base page. So I'm gonna do one here, and then I'm gonna do the other one, same thing, add some tape, there you go. And now I'm gonna open that up and place this page on this side. So we make sure that the corners match and nothing's sticking out of the page, and then we just take that out. Okay, so that is our last layout. Now before I add any paper into these pages, I'm going to round the corners of the pages that I know I'm not gonna use my die. For example, this one here, I'm going to round this up. And I love using my my corner rounder, because it just gives it that extra, I don't know, it's like a little extra something. It doesn't look too pointy, it just looks more finished. Okay, so that one has the corner edge. This one, if you're not using a die, you can most definitely round your corners as well. So I'm not gonna round the corners for that, but I am going to round the corners for the one inside. Just like that. And this one too. Okay, so now this page is done. This one again, yes, I'm going to round this one and this one, and of course this one as well. and this one. Okay, so now we have that. The pocket, no. This one, no. And this one, yes. Okay, so then the one inside as well. It's just to take that extra minute, and it makes that big difference on the finishing of your album. Okay, so now we are going to add some magnets. So not every page needs magnets, and I'll show you that right now. So this one up and down won't need a magnet. This one will need a magnet. So I'm just going to grab here, and let's see, I am going to get this out. Let's see, oops. So we're just gonna place one on this side, and then I'm going to look for the other one, and we're just going to close this, and here we go. Now we have a magnet. This one, I think this one will need a magnet, and then this one won't need a magnet. Okay, perfect, because I only have one pack of magnets, and that is all we need. So I'm gonna use my last two magnets on this page. Let's see, so for this one, I'm just gonna put it on the top here, the top flap. We're gonna do the corner. Notice how I don't place it straight into the edge, because you want to make sure you can glue your paper on there. Take off this, and we're gonna place that down. All right, so now I'm just gonna add my design paper on this. Okay, so now we have all our pages ready and we are ready to put them into the album. So I have them on the same order as we worked on these pages. I don't know if I want to mix them up. Let's see, because you guys know I always change my mind. So let's see, maybe I'll do this one here. No, yeah, I'll do that. That way I have a pretty border on each one of the pages, like one on the back right there. Okay, so I'm just going to peel off the tape just right here. We're gonna put it on the side like that. We are going to find the center of the signature, just like this, which is our base page. And we are going to start from the bottom, insert, and then we're just gonna make sure this is center up and down, and we're gonna put it right on top of the tape. Okay, the tape is kind of going to guide you how far away you're going to be from the base of the book. Okay, so then here we go. Now we're just gonna turn that around and take off the tape on that other side, and then I'm going to do the same for the next one here. I just realized this little piece never came out from my die, so I'm gonna take this out really quick. There we go. Good thing I didn't glue it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna peel off tape again and add the next page over. Okay, just like that, and take off the tape, and then we're gonna do the same on this side, just like that. And the last one, here we go. And I'm gonna place this in, take off the tape. Oops, little piece of tape got stuck in here, so I'm just gonna take that out and do the same on the back, just like that. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3 page signatures for our album. Now on the back here, I'm going to do another layout. So I'm gonna grab some cardstock. Okay, so I am going to cut a piece at 6.5 by 7.5, and that's gonna be the base here for this page. So then I am going to cut these other ones. I'm gonna do 4 pages at 6.5 by 7.5. Okay, so we're gonna need 4 of those. I'm gonna put this one on side, that's the base. So these 4 pieces of 6.5 by 7.5, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, just like that. And we are going to fold along the score lines and add some tape, just like that. We're going to do the same to all these pages. So then I'm going to add these ones into the base one here, the first one that we cut out, which is actually the same size. We're just not scoring that first one. And I'm going to place one on the left here, and then I'm going to place another one right on top of this one here. So we have 2, and I love doing this type of layout because it really does give you a lot of room for pictures. So now I'm gonna open those 2 up, and I'm going to do the same on this other side. So another simple layout that will give you extra room for pictures. And I'm just gonna line these up. Place that there, and one more here. And I'm just going to place this down. Okay, and then we are going to cover this up with paper, of course, and this is going to close up like so. And then we are going to add this whole piece back here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and glue this down right now, and then I'll add the paper. Okay, and then here, if you don't have enough paper, you can most definitely just put your pictures straight in here and then just use your scraps to embellish the sides here. So I love this type of page here. So for your page inserts, we're going to need a piece that measures 6 by 7 and a quarter. And all I'm going to do to these pieces is add some of my pretty ribbon. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of fabric tag glue, just like that, and add some of this pretty lace. And I'm just gonna move this down a bit, and I'm just gonna cut the extra. And I'm gonna do the same to the other two. And then we're gonna add these inserts into the middle of our pages, just like that. Let's see here. And then once you add them all up, you'll see that you still have enough room to close your album. All right, so let me put my cover on here. And oh, I love it. I just love it. I forgot that I have these butterflies that I wanted to use for this album, so I'm just gonna add one in here. And let's see. And this glue works really good for metal pieces too. So I'm just gonna, isn't that gorgeous? Super cute. So I'm gonna let this butterfly dry, and then I'm going to continue embellishing my inside pages with my flowers and my butterflies. And I'm just gonna do that off camera because I think I'm out of space for this video. But I hope that you guys enjoy the tutorial. I hope that you visit the store, JS Hobbies and Crafts. I will have the link down below as always with all the supplies that we are using. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like this video. And I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.